Hi, it's me again, and the BBC have published its external events register for the final quarter of 2022. How exciting, I hear you say. Well, it's actually quite interesting. And I thought just a quick little video today, quite informal, we'll just have a little look at it together. I'm not going to give any opinion on what these people have earned outside the BBC. I'm not going to say anything negative about these people because they're contractually allowed to earn the money they earn. So let's have a look at what some of the BBC top talent is earning outside the BBC for the last quarter of 2022. So here we go, look. The BBC today, 8th of February, published the external events register for the fourth quarter of 2022. Of the external events of this quarter, 86% involved payments of 5k or less and 50% were below 1,000. Oh, so that sounds good. Right, well, let's have a look at it. Let's have a look. So let's start in October. Let's have a look at this spreadsheet, see what we see. I'm only looking for big numbers because they're the interesting ones, obviously. Stephen Sacker from News and Current Affairs on the 4th of the 10th was a panel chair for the Qatar Foundation and earned over £10,000. Nick Robinson, News and Current Affairs on the 12th of October was a speaker at the Pensions and Lifetime Association, and for that he was paid over £10,000. That's not a bad gig if you can get it for a night's work, is it? And his News and Current Affairs. I mean, some of these you may think there'd be a conflict of interest because an outside party is paying them a lot of money and these people report on BBC News. I would never say that. I would never say that this could cause a conflict of interest. Why would I say that? Justin Webb of News and Current Affairs on the 31st of October was a speaker for Business Traveller and was paid between 5 and 10k. Oh, well, that's October, so there's others, aren't there? Let's have a look at November, because I have skimmed it and I saw a couple that I wanted to mention to you. I think they were in November. I'll have a look. Victoria Derbyshire, whose News and Current Affairs on the 16th of November was a moderator for Champions UK PLC, and she was paid between £5,000 and £10,000 for that gig. Now, I don't know. I know who Victoria Derbyshire is. You let me know in the comments below if you would employ her to be a speaker or is it a moderator for between £5,000 and £10,000. We're into the big stuff now. Look, John Simpson from News and Current Affairs on the 17th of November was a speaker for Hayfin Capital Management and was paid over £10,000. Cheeky little crizzy bonus for one night at work there. John Simpson. Good money if you can get it. And this is all fine, and he's contractually allowed to do this with the BBC as long as he declares it to the BBC. So there's no problem here. I'm not having a dig. Good for you if you can earn it, because I couldn't earn that. Nick Robinson on the 17th of November was a moderator for Wow, Got Shy and Manges LLP and got paid over 10 grand. God, November was a good pay month for many of these people, wasn't it? Naga Manchetti on the 29th of November was a moderator for Experian and got between 5 and 10 grand. Oh, Naga Manchetti on the 25th of the 11th was a moderator for Property Drum for 5 to 10 grand. So how many? That was like a couple of days difference. She's a busy lady, isn't she? I don't know how she finds time to get up in the morning and read the news, but thankfully for us, she does find the time. I mean, Aaron Hesselhurst from News and Current Affairs on the 1st of December was paid 5 to 10 grand to be a host for the Centre for Aviation. Who is Aaron Hesselhurst? Search Google for Aaron Hesselhurst. BBC Business News presenter. I've never heard of him. Never heard of him. But for hosting that, he's worth between £5,000 and £10,000. Good for him. Naga Manchetti, News and Current Affairs on the 1st of December. She was a host for Inclusive Companies between £5,000 and £10,000. Stephen Sacker on the 5th of December was a panel chair for the UAE Space Agency. UAE Space Agency, and for that, he was paid over £10,000 to be a panel chair. Who's Stephen Sacker? Search Google for Stephen Sacker. He presents Hard Talk, a current affairs interview programme on BBC World News. Well, yeah, that's a lot of money. UAE, which means he would have got flights there as well. I would imagine if it's a UAE space agency, he would have had to go to the UAE to present it. And he got over 10 grand for doing it. And the BBC pay him, according to the Radio Times, £175,000 to £179,000. So for one night's work, what's that, 6-7% of his salary for one night's work? Who's your daddy? It's not the BBC, is it? It's the UAE. Wow. It's big money, this external events register, isn't it? It's big money. I should become an after-dinner speaker. But like I said, I'm not having a dig at any of these people. They're allowed to earn this money, and they have declared it all to the BBC as they are contractually obligated to do. And good for them. They can make this money in the free market commercially using the personality they gained through their work at the BBC. I'm not having a dig. I'm just, all I'm doing is reporting that that's the money they're capable of earning. No conflict of interest there. Doesn't matter what country or business is paying them huge amounts of money. I'm sure that their reporting for the BBC would still be completely impartial. Yeah, and that's me being about as careful as I can be when talking about this. But you don't necessarily have to be as careful as me. So you can let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. If this was ITV people, would we still be having this same conversation? You know, they still do the same job like news presenters or whatever, and they're making this money on the side, being hosts, after dinner speaks, whatever it is that they're doing. Would we have a problem with it? No. No. Do we have a problem with it now? No. Obviously, I have no problem with it at all. But the only issue I can think of, and I'm sure the BBC have thought of it, and all checks and balances are in place. So I have no doubt that the BBC have this fully covered. But it's if an external company is paying you for one night's work 7 to 10% of your annual salary that you get with the BBC, and you have to come up with a news story that may have something negative to do with this country or company, but they're paying you a lot of money on the side, would you still write that story and report that story? Now, I'm sure the BBC have all the checks and balances in place to ensure that they're completely impartial in that manner. But me, being Captain Negative here, that's how I would think. Now, I'm glad that the BBC have got that one covered. So anyway, let me know what you think about it in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, because that way, hopefully I'll see you in another video again soon when I... Ta-da! I'm off to do some after dinner speaking for a few grand a pop. Lovely.